Hi guys, welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be looking at making something a little bit different. As you've seen, it's cardboard roll orientated, and it's a great game that you can play with the family over the holidays, because as you know, holidays are coming and everyone's going to be off, so it's a great time to play some silly games with the family, I guess. This is a great one because you're recycling things that you've already got in the home, and you know, it just brings everyone together, doesn't it? So apart from the items I'm going to list, you also do need something to actually hit the rolls with. So either a Nerf gun. A Nerf gun's great because I've got 3 boys, so they've all, you know, they're all mad about Nerf guns, and I'm sure, you know, anyone with boys will understand that. But if your kids don't have Nerf guns and if you don't have boys, then you can also use some sort of dart. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but even teaspoons, bit random, but you know, you can give it a go. So, you know, just get creative. I'm sure you can think of other things you could use to throw. I mean, even little marbles or something, just to pop the tissue lining on the game. Also, I mean, if you don't want to use this as a game, you can use it as a advent calendar if you prefer to do that. So I know we've kind of run out of the days now. I'm sorry, I was supposed to get this video out sooner. It's just been one thing after another, and you know what it's like when you're trying to craft, and especially this time of year, it's very busy for everybody. So please do forgive me, I didn't get it out any sooner. But that's why I sort of went on the game angle rather than the advent calendar angle. But if you only want to do, you know, a shorter advent calendar, then, you know, you could do that as well. Okay, I think enough of me talking on. I think it's time to get started with the craft. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. Okay, so we've got our collection of toilet rolls here. We've got a disinfectant spray, which I've sprayed the toilet rolls previously, just so that kill any germs, because obviously we know where they've been in the bathroom. So yeah, just spray them with a bit of disinfectant if you have any. Some sellotape, a pair of scissors, and ideally a couple of small elastic bands if you have them. They're not compulsory, but they do make a massive difference when you're working out you know, where to snip. So what we're going to do is, I've done one here already, we're going to create a little end, an enclosed end like that one. And I'm just going to take my rubber band, I'm going to place it around the top as a little marker, and I just want to measure where I want the top side of my the top part to be. So it's to be about there, okay? And then I'm just going to leave that where it is. I'm just going to make some snips all the way around the toilet roll on one side, like that. Careful not to snip the actual rubber band. Take your time, go all the way around, and we're back to the start, and then you just want to carefully fold the edges in like that. See? That one's a bit stiff, that's okay. Don't worry if it loses its shape slightly, it's not a problem. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't enclose at the end, it's just so that when we glue it down, it's got a little bit more to hold on to, rather than just the edge like that, you know, less surface area for the glue. So that just creates a better adhesion sort of surface area, okay? So you want to do that with all your rolls. Okay, so after we've cut them and flattened them down like that, we literally just need to cover the other end. Now, you can use a number of different materials, so I'll go through a few of them with you now. Depending on whether you're making like a calendar, an advent calendar, or if you're making a game, which is what I'm doing, you know, you might want to use more sort of decorative paper for an advent calendar, because of course you want it to be a bit more sparkly. We've also got, you know, just sort of recyclable paper, which I'm always a big fan of. Again, it's still got the snowflakes on, but it's not as sparkly. But you know, it's great for if you're using up old paper and that kind of thing. The other option is, and especially if you're making the game, is actually just tissue paper. So there's a number of colours in there, and it is very thin. So if I take one out, I'll show you. It's really, really thin. I think you must have come across this as a child. And it's really fine, and it's good for you know, all these sorts of arts and crafts, but it's especially good for this because it's easy to pop. So you have to be careful with this one when you're coating your little rolls, because it will rip easily. But I do recommend maybe doing a double sheet, so you do 2 sheets with it. And I'll tell you why you want it to be thin, is because when you do go to shoot it, and you know, that's part of the fun of the game, is when you shoot it, you want the item, you want the circle to pop easily, because you want to be able to access the little gift inside. So you know, sometimes if you use strong paper, that's not going to happen, and especially if you use coated paper like this, it's really reducing your chances of actually popping through. So tissue paper is great for the game, and this kind of paper is great if it's just for an advent calendar. Okay, now if you want to make it more long lasting and you want to reuse it, you can, again, this is not for the game, this is only for the advent calendar. You can reuse. Now I've got this old piece of felt, and again, I love reusing. This was an old costume for one of my children. They were doing an Aztec thing, so I did make a lovely little Aztec vest, but we no longer need it. We haven't needed it for a while, so I'm reusing the fabric. The fabric's still in good condition. But you can cut out circles, and the great thing with felt is it doesn't fray, so it's easy to cut the right size. And you can use other materials just to make it more fun. You can use old bits of scrap, and you can then stick it onto the felt to make the right shape, and you know, use a bit of Velcro even to stick on top, and then you've just got a flap that lifts up and down. But my kids would end up opening them all and taking everything out, so it's not going to work in our house. But you never know, if you've got good children in yours, or if you're making it for an adult even, then you might be more inclined to be good and not look. Okay, so we're going to start now layering this up. I'm going to use tissue paper for mine, and I might use the odd bit of this just to add a little bit of interest. Okay, so look, I've started doing a couple here. As you can see, they're nice and covered. Don't worry about the edges. I know they look a bit rough and messy, but that's okay because they're going to be covered up, so you're not going to see that part. And basically all we're going to do is we're going to take the end. So we've got we've got the bit that we've cut, and we're going to go to the opposite side to put our tissue paper on. Hopefully you've still got your rubber bands, and I'm going to walk round and show you because it might be a bit easier. Okay, so we've got our toilet roll. We're just going to put the tissue paper on top like that, and we're just going to pull it down around the roll. I like to lean on the table as so. Just make sure it's nicely pulled like that. Okay, you've got that. Take your rubber band and just secure it like that. Okay, and then we're just going to tape it. We're just going to sellotape it all the way around. So we've got it there like that. Get our tape. See what I'm doing? Get some tape and just tape it. Just go all the way around. Obviously don't stick the rubber band down. But you just want to make sure that you've covered all the edges nicely like that. Stick a bit to the toilet roll as well, just so it holds on the toilet roll and not, you know, not being able to be pulled off or anything like that. And then just take and any bits you've missed, obviously just go back round, take your time, and there we go. That's all we need to do. Okay, so that's with tissue paper. It should work the same with paper. Obviously it's going to be different with fabric, but I've got quite a few to get through, so I won't let you, I won't put you through watching the whole thing, but you get the idea. It's so straightforward. I'll show you one more time. Literally, all we're going to do is I'll use the yellow, get our tissue papers. Now I'm using 2, just so you know. I'm using 2 because I didn't want it to be, firstly, too see-through. I didn't want the prize to show through, and also just for extra durability, it's not going to rip when I drop something in it. So that's why I'm using 2 sheets, just to give it a nice, give it a bit more strength. Okay, there we go. So I've got that on there, and I'm gonna stick that little loose bit down first, just so it doesn't come off. There we go. And when we put it all together, it will look so much better. I know at the moment the edge is not messy, looks like your child made it, but that's okay because it's all for fun anyway. And it's one of those quick makes, you know, you don't need to spend hours and hours doing it. It's as and when you've got your toilet rolls available, remember to spray them with antibac first. But you know, you can make them as you go, and then when the time comes to play the game, because it is fun, you know, then you've got it all ready to go. So just keep on doing this as you go, really. It's one of those which you don't need to collect up loads and loads of rolls before you start. You can make them whenever you've got 5 minutes. If you've got all your papers cut out already, and you know, then you're good to go, really. You've got everything at hand. Just keep a little area where you can keep all your things, and then as a roll becomes available, you can just do this bit at least. Collect them all up, and then it'll be time to fill them with your goodies. Okay. Okay, so I've wrapped all mine nicely and neatly all around. I've got 18 so far. I think that's more than enough, actually. I'm not going to collect any more because that's enough for my game. Now what we're going to do is you need to decide on the type of treats you want to put in. So because we're just doing this for a bit of fun, I'm just going to use, you know, some sweets and some small chocolates and things like that. Of course, you can use miniature toiletries. There's some great ones like little hand creams you can get, little deodorants. Of course, you can make them as luxurious as you'd like. You can use gold or silver wrap as well to make it look a bit more, you know, posh. So yeah, just dress it up or dress it down as much as you like. Because this is just for me, the kids and my other half, we're just doing it for a bit of fun. So yeah, I mean, if you think of any other things that you could put inside as a little treat, then please do let me know, because it'd be nice to think of other ideas. A couple of years ago, we did like the same sort of thing, and I actually put like a joke inside or a riddle that the family could solve at the same time, so it sort of extends the gameplay. You know, so there's so many other things you can do, you know, even roll up a small pair of socks for children, they can go in. You'd have to wrap them quite small, but you know, you know what I mean. I can't think of anything else really. I think it's mainly small things like toiletries, small toys, or well, as we said, sweets, treats, even some savoury snacks, you know, some small, like a small bag of nuts or something. I know that's a bit random, but you might think of some better ideas. Maybe you could even make some key rings and put them in and things like that, so small craft items. It depends how far you want to go with it. To keep it simple, I'm just going to put in sweets and treats, but you know, do let me know if you think of anything else. Okay, we're going to now move on to the next step. Okay, so decide on the shape that you'd like for your particular game. I'm going with this sort of star shape. I've left enough space around the edges if I do want to add more, but I think I'm quite happy with that at the moment. So obviously do it upside down because you want it nice and flat. And then you also need some cardboard. Now the cardboard that I've got here, I've folded it in two places, so if you just want to fold it so that it can stand up like that. Okay, but it might not stand at the moment. I'll show you the side view. Okay, it's not going to stand at the moment. I need to put something at the bottom to stop it from sliding, but that's the kind of thing we want because we want it to be sturdy to stand up. Okay, so I've got quite a long piece there. I will measure it. I'll give you the measurements in just a second. And I've also got another piece of cardboard that I'm recycling here, and this will go across just so I can get my star shape on there. And what we need to obviously do is glue that down. You need to use a glue gun, I'd say, because using anything less than a glue gun is not going to be strong enough to keep that secure. So just glue that down, and then we can start cutting out the shape that just from the sides. Okay, so we're going to stick that down. We're going to use a glue gun to glue that down. Okay, so I've glued this bit down, and I've also marked just where the actual toilet rolls fit on the cardboard. So I've measured them all the way across, and I've just marked the two ends. Just give you the measurement. So it's actually 67 centimeters. I work in centimeters. I know some people work in inches. It's looking at about 26 and a half, just under 26 and a half inches. But again, it doesn't have to be exact. It's according to your shape. Remember that as well. So I'm going to trim my cardboard. So if I just, of course, I'll give you the width as well. That would help, wouldn't it? So the width is, where are we? It is 22 centimeters, or just over an 8.5. I'm just losing the plot, girls. I'm sorry. And guys. Anyway, moving that out of the way. Right. Okay. So I'm just going to trim this down to size. Don't worry if it's not perfectly neat. Again, it's one of those quick makes, and it doesn't have to be neat. That's the beauty. Right, don't need those. Okay, so I'll just show you again. So I've got my frame like that. Okay, now I do want to obviously reduce the size of these, so I might just take the corners off just to make it into almost like a triangle. I don't want to spend too much time faffing around with it. I just want it to be nice and simple. So I'm just going to take off the triangles. I'm just obviously going to try and copy the same triangle, the same off on that side. Tricky to reach this one. Turn it upside down, that's better. You can take a lot longer on this. I'm rushing a little bit, I admit, but you really got to go with how much time you have, and at the moment I am short of time because I wanted to get this done by the end of the day, by the end of the by the time I go on the school run. So, you know, it's one of those crafts which I'm not really bothered if it doesn't look absolutely perfect. And sometimes these crafts are the funnest ones, aren't they, really? Because you're not too worried about how it looks, you know, and you're not too worried about being absolutely perfect. Those crafts have their space in time, don't they? And you know, this isn't one of them, so don't worry about it. Okay, anyway, not going to waffle. We are now going to stick the paper on the front, okay? Okay, so I've cut out my paper to the right size and I'm just weighing it down with a candle holder. I've unfortunately run out of sellotape, can you believe it? That's the worst thing, isn't it, when you're doing a craft? So it's going to look a little bit messy. That's alright, as I say, I'm trying to whiz through this one. And then we just need to do this last bit at the back. Okay, so that's the basic shape, but look, it won't stand, will it? So, what we are now going to do is actually support this bottom end somehow. I've got this piece of cardboard, it's just from an old, I mean it's a bit flimsy, but it's from, you know, just like something out of packaging really, that's all you need. And what I'm going to do is actually just find out how big I want my thing to open. Okay, so we want it to sit about sort of that far apart, okay? So I'm just going to fold the ends. If I just get my pencil and make a mark on the inside where I want that to sit. So there and about there, okay? So I've got my 2 pencil marks there. And I'm just going to fold along those, as so. And that one, okay. And then the side that I haven't glued down, I'm going to push this through there. And I'm going to stick it down with a little bit of masking tape. Actually, I think this one calls for the glue gun, because I'm thinking if I try and stick this down with masking tape, it's not going to work. So, temporary measure, I will just stick that on, and I'm going to go back to the glue gun, and I'm going to glue this flap inside there before I can seal it off, okay? Okay, and that's it. I've glued it together, as you can see here. and you're not really going to look at the inside, so I'm not bothered about covering up the inside. But if you are a little bit extra and you're feeling that you really want to, you can cover the inside bit as well. I'm happy with it as it is, so that's fine with me. And now the next step is basically, if you filled up your toilet rolls, we're going to glue them together and then stick the whole thing onto the front. Okay. Okay, so I've managed to put in some treats inside the little toilet rolls. I shouldn't call them that anymore, should I? Because they've taken on a new shape. So I'll say inside the game. So they're in, and I'm now ready to glue this onto our board that we'd made earlier. The best thing to do is leave this flat because you don't want to risk ripping the tissue paper underneath. So I'm going to set that aside for a second, and I'm just going to put some of the glue on top of there so it's ready to stick on. Then I'm going to turn it upside down and stick it on top. Okay. Just bear in mind that you are gluing the right side to the right side onto the back of the game, because I've just realized that I've started gluing the wrong side, so I'm kind of now stuck with that, and it's okay, I don't mind. I mean, it's not a biggie, but just be aware that you are gluing the right side. I should have paid a bit better attention, I think. Oops, I accidentally ripped one of the tissue paper tops. Just be really careful when you're doing this, because you do end up tearing them if you're if you're not careful like I just did. It's easily fixed with a little bit of glue from the glue gun, but you know, just to make sure it looks nice, you don't want to be doing that, so just be really careful.